Okay, today we're going to start Testament Bays towards the bottom. I went through the Gemara this morning. We're going to have 19 questions, 19 halachas. Is the way I divided it. So we'll see. It's just what we're going to do today is we're going to give scenarios of Bedikas Chametz. And we're going to compare it to Mishnayos or other scenarios that are similar, comparable. We start off, what is this, 15 lines from the bottom, 12 lines from the bottom. Tesha tziburim shel matzah v'echad shel chametz. If you have 9 bundles of matzah and 1 bundle of chametz, a little mouse comes in and takes one of those bundles of chametz or matzah, and he runs into the house. He runs away. Now you already checked your house, so your house is kosher for Pesach. The problem is that a mouse just ran in now with possibly chametz or possibly matzah. So what's the din? Now, we said before that you don't have to suspect that a mouse took it, but if you see it, then you do have to suspect. That's a different story. The problem is that here you don't know what he took. Now, for some reason, you can't count how many chametz you have left or how many matzah you have left. Now it's a confusion. So, that's exactly the story, because he ran into the house. And now you have to check the house. You have to give bedika on the house because there's chametz that entered it. That's the case of Tesha Chanuyos. The Gemara doesn't get into the story, but basically, if you buy meat from a store and there's 9 kosher stores and one not kosher, so you say basarayv. But if you actually go to the store and you take from the store, then we say kol kavua kemechza mechza dami. When do we say you go basarayv? If you find in the plaza in front of the stores, you find a piece of meat, you say it probably came from the majority of the stores, or from one of the stores that's part of the majority, which is kosher. That's called the case of pirish. It's separated pirish. It's separated from the store. But if it was from the suffix arose in the store itself, I walked into a store and I don't remember which store I walked into. So then it's kavua. The store is kavua. And we say kol kavua kemechza mechza dami. Yeah, there's all types of shilas over here. How does a bezdin work? Is it kavua and you go basarayv? There's some say that the psak of the bezdin is pirish from their mouth. There's all types of interesting things. But what would be in our case by the chametz? It took from one of the stores, it took from one of the piles. So therefore it's mechza, you have to do a bedika again. See, Rashi says, v'safik yisur l'chumra, mechza, v'safik yisur l'chumra. Pirish, next case. Let's say somehow a piece of one of these piles of either chametz or matzah had separated, and that piece that was pirish, that separated from the rest of the piles, and a mouse came and took that piece. We're creating a scenario that would be similar to the finding the piece of meat in front of the stores. Hainu Seifa, that's the end of that Mishnah. Nitanan, where's the Tanya? The Brisa. Tesha Chanuyos kulam meichem basar shchuta, v'achas meicheres basar nevela. If there's 9 stores that sell basar shchuta, one says basar nevela, one of them, right, the 10th. So, and you bought from one of them, that's a case of kavua, and you don't know which one you bought from, so that's also ubenimtza. But if you find it in front of the stores, halacha right, you go after the majority of those stores. The statistics is that it came from one of the majority. Why is there no statistics when you walked into the store? So that's unclear if it's exer sakasav or if there's a svara for it. Usually you learn that it's exer sakasav, the rule of kavua. Okay, Shnei Tziburim, another case. For me, in my list, this is number 3. So, Shnei Tziburim, Echad Shal Matzah, Echad Shal Chametz, Lefneim Shnei Batim, Echad Badak, Echad Sheina Badak. You have 2 piles. Piles of chametz, a pile of chametz, a pile of matzah, 2 bundles, right? And then you have 2 houses. One house was checked already, and one house wasn't checked. 2 mice come along. Echad shakal matzah, echad shakal chametz, v'layadin hey lahayayal, v'hey lahayayal. 2 mice came, and each one took one of these pieces of bread, either chametz or matzah, and they ran into the houses. You don't know if the one with the chametz ran into the house that was checked already, or the opposite. One of the chametz ran into the house that wasn't checked. You have to check it anyway, right? So what did it say? Murphy's Law or something, that what could go wrong will go wrong. So over here we don't say that. We say Hainus de Kupes. This is the case of the 2 boxes. The Tanana was taught in the Mishnah. You have 2 boxes, one of chulin and one of truma. So chulin, anyone can eat, right? Truma is only for a kayan. And in front of these boxes, there's measurements of chulin and truma. And they fell into one of the boxes fell into the sav of chulin, one fell into the sav of truma. The question is, which one fell into which? Mutarin, they're all mutar. I say that the chulin remains chulin. It had a chazaka before. I don't change the chazaka of the chulin. And I say that what fell into it was the chulin one. And the truma, what fell into the truma was the truma one, and nothing got messed up yet. Maybe we had this in Nida. We had over there. It was interesting that if there's 2 women and you find there's 2 women on a bed, they find a stain, and one of them was tamei and one of them was tar. We say that the stain came from the one that was tamei. It was called toilen akilkol b'makulkol. We presume that whatever went wrong here came from the one that was already had a problem. That's the. So here also, we'll assume that the truma fell into the truma. What does that tell us for us? The house that was checked remains checked. And the house that was not checked yet has to be checked, and we'll assume that the chametz was brought into it. That's the comparison. Tela nakilkol b'makolkol. Akakala b'makolkol. It's almost as bad as God did. Yeah. What do they say? 3 sentences that's very difficult to say. One was seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper packed the and my mother-in-law's moving in. Okay. Eimer damrinan shani eimer b'truma derabanan. B'chametz deraisa mi'amrinan. Come on, that's a good question. What are we talking about over there? We're talking about truma derabanan. Why is it truma derabanan? Rashi tells us because it's truma bisman hazeh, which is derabanan. It's truma bisman hazeh derabanan. Yes, it's derabanan. I don't know. But in Eretz Yisrael, it should be a deraisa now. Tell me there's not a bias. Yeah, but that wouldn't explain Rashi's bisman hazeh. So I was expecting Rashi to say something else. Expecting Rashi to tell me that it's truma on items that aren't biblical to begin with, which Rashi, well, he tells us all over that truma is only by the gunfa, grain, wine, and oil. Could have answered that. Whatever the case is, if it's truma derabanan, So then, Tailan Akilkul B'Makulkul is easy. I have a doubt. I'll say, I'll say, I'll say that, the whatever went wrong is only in the one that had a problem anyway. But when we're going to deal with chametz, which is deraisa, chametz deraisa miyaminan, can we take such a lenient approach and say that the chametz was brought into the house that wasn't checked yet? Maybe by chametz deraisa we should be strict. The Gemara asks, it asks on the question, which is also an answer. It says, "Atu b'dikas chametz deraisa." B'dikas chametz is a deraisa. Searching, it's not a deraisa anyway. That's also the rabbanan. Why the midaraisa bebittel bal masagi le midaraisa? You just have to nullify it. You can just remove that. So the whole thing over here is all a derabanan. So the comparison is perfect. This is a truma was a derabanan. Chametz is a derabanan. We'll say that the mouse that had the chametz went into the house that wasn't checked. What if I don't do bittel? That's the answer. What if I don't do bittel? Yeah, according to this Gemara, if for some reason you're not able to do bittel, then that would be an issue. That would be an afkamina. Very good. If it's like, for example, we said you can't do bittel once Pesach starts, you can't do bittel. That'd be an interesting case. Okay. Tiberachet shel chametz l'fan of beis bat and bedukim. You have one bundle of chametz, and you have two houses that were both checked. And I don't know which house it went into. Maybe this is case number 4. So Heinrich Neishvilen. So this is the comparable to the Mishnah that talks about Shnei Shvilim. Shnei Shvilim is 2 paths. The Tanan, it was taught in the Mishnah, Shnei Shvil Nechot Tamei V'Echad Tar. There's 2 paths. One of them is clearly Tamei. We're on Yud Amud Aleph. Yud Amud Aleph, 10a. About 7 lines down. One of them is clearly Tamei. There's a corpse that's in the road, along the road, or something that's if you walked on this road, you were clearly Mahil. You covered over the corpse in a way that made you Tamei. The other road was Tar. You went on one of them, and then you touched Taris. You were involved with Tahar grain. So one of them became Tamei, and they were involved with grain. It's different grains, otherwise it would for sure be Tamei. It has to be that they each were involved with different, not the same grain. So now they come to ask. Now it's impossible for them to both be Tar, because they both walked on the different paths. One of them was clearly Tamei. So, however, each one independently asks the question. So Rabbi Yehuda says, if they each ask independently, then Tahirim. Each one comes to the road. The road says, yeah, you're Tar. Yeah, why are they Tar? So the reason why they're Tar is because it's Safek Tumah B'Rishas Harabah. We have a rule we learned from Saita that Safek Tumah B'Rishas Hayachid is Tamei, Safek Tumah B'Rishas Harabah is Tar. So here, this is a street. B'Rishas Harabah doesn't mean that it's 16 Amos and 600,000 people. B'Rishas Harabah just means that it's a public area. Just like it would make sense by a Saita, private versus public. So we say that each one, because each one asked independently, we say that they're Tar. Shneim b'vasachas, if they both come together, now they're creating a problem for themselves when they show up. The Rav can't say that you're both Tar. So then it's Tmeim. Rabbi Yossi says it doesn't matter. Whether they come separately, whether they come together, they're Tamei. We have to see exactly in a moment what's the pshat over here. Amar Rava v'teimer Rabbi Yochanan. Rava said, or others say that it was Rabbi Yochanan that said this. If both people show up in investment together and they ask, it has to be or something. They have to ask in the same breath, each of them together, my tar or my tame. So the answer can't come out that they're both tar because it's impossible. So but if they come independently, then they're called tar, and everyone holds out their tar. Even Rabbi Yosef would say tar. Why does Rabbi Yosef say tame? The whole machlekes is if each one comes and says, "I'm asking for my friend as well." Yeah. Right. Yeah. Over there, it has to do with the moisture that goes over the person. Yeah. Over there, by a mikveh, if there's exactly 40 saw, one person goes in, when he comes out, he takes some of the water with him. So if he's still attached to we consider the water attached. That's a different logic, yeah. Yeah, one rabbi over there, it says that if you go to the mikveh, you want to do a bunch of dips. So you really have to step out of the mikveh because you're still attached, you're still considered in the mikveh. Well, based on that. Whatever. No one does that. So what's the machlekes? If they come and they ask for their friend, Rabbi Yossi says that it's like as if they both came. And if they both come to ask, so then clearly it's tamei, because it's impossible for them both to be tar. One of them walked on the path that was tamei. And Rabbi Yehuda compares it to ze'achar that it's as if they came separately and it's separate shilas over here. What does that tell us? What happens for us is that the big cool, yeah. So, according to Rabbi Yehuda, what they're going to tell him is they're going to say, "You are tahar," and he should figure out that if I'm tahar, my friend's tahar also, because the same way they said they were able to tell me that I'm tahar, they would be able to tell him that he's tahar. So that's how Rabbi Yehuda says it. So, what happens over here? It depends. The owners of the houses, if they come to ask. If they come together to ask, then they would both have to check the houses. If they come separately, or if one person comes and says that, oh, thank you, and says that I'm coming to ask for my friend's house also because the achbar ran in. I don't know which house it went into. So then you don't have to check. I have a question over here. I didn't get a chance to look it up. Rashi says, "Kivan de bedikas chametz derabanan talinon lakula v'aminan sveikim mutter." What do I have? I have a doubt over here. It's a 50-50 chance. Either went into this house or went into that house. Each house has a chazaka, so I establish it that each house is mutter. Right? If I'm only asking on one house, it's possible for me to say that each house is still chametz free. My problem is that before we didn't say this. Before, when we said Tesha Tziburim Shel Matzah, and the Achbar comes, we don't know if he took from the pile of chametz. We don't know if he took from the pile of matzah, the one of matzah. We say, no, the 9 of matzah, the one of chametz. We say that it's 50-50. Say it's kol kavua k'mechz al mechz. That's 50-50. We say you have to be machmir. You have to be machmir. Over here you tell me that I'm makel when it's 50-50. Over here I also have a 50-50. Why are we being makel when it's 50-50? Because it's a derabana. Remember, there it wasn't the Darabanan. It was the same story. What happened with the Pesachim? Oh, okay. This is Taisa's question. You Yerushalayim against Leibittel. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Very good. So everything is it's been asked already. Question number 5, case number 5. Suffolk al, Suffolk loy al. This means that you see a mouse in the courtyard with chametz. Question is, did he go into the house? You don't know if he went into the house. Hainu bika. That's the case of a bika, of the valley, in the open areas. The plukta de Rabbi Lezer v'Rabbanan. So machlekes Rabbi Lezer and Rabbanan. The Tanana was taught in the Mishnah. Nichnas lebika. Someone goes into a valley. Valley just means an area of fields. It doesn't have to be between mountains. It's just like an open area. If it's in the winter. Now, the reason why that's significant is because in the winter, the grain is starting to grow, and you really have no rights to go into someone else's field. So that it's now considered a Rosh Hashanah. In the summer, you're allowed to walk on the field, but in the winter, you're not allowed to. So it becomes a Rosh Hashanah in the winter. Betuma besada plainus. There's tuma. There's probably a corpse in one of the fields. Someone says, I was just there. I went to the valley. I don't know if I was in the field that has the tumah though. So, I don't know if I was there. So Rabbi Lezer is mitar. Rabbi Lezer says that the person's tar. Rabbi Lezer considers it a svek sveka. Says, look, you don't know if you went into the field, and you also don't know, even if you were in the field, you don't know if you went over that corpse. It's a svek sveka. Some would look at it just as one subject. I don't know if I went over the corpse. Yeah, he was there. He was in that area. He doesn't know if he entered into the field that has the corpse. And even if he went into that field that has the corpse, he doesn't know if he went over the corpse. Yeah, in Yeridea, when you learn Smicha, so this is Simon Kufiyah, over there talks about Svek Sveka. So it's all discussion of what's considered a Svek Sveka. Because over here, there's another way of looking at it, that it's only one suffix. Did you go over the corpse? That's one suffix. Or do you say no? First, it's a suffix if I went into the field. Even if I went to the field, did I go over the corpse? You can turn everything into a Svek Sveka like that, when it really is just, did you or not? Right? So that's the opinion of Rabbi Lezer v'chachamim mitamin. The chachamim are going to say tamin. So Shayir Rabbi Lezer, Safik biyatar, Safik magatuma is tamin. Why do the chachamim say tamin? The chachamim say tamin because it's Safik tumah b'shus hayachid. They don't view it as a svek sveka. Oh, that's a good question. I know Safik tumah versus a yachid is tummy. What about a svek sveka? That's a good question. So here, what comes out from this is you have a suffix if the mouse went into the house. What we're going to say is, according to Rabbi Lezer, there's clearly no problem. What's the svek sveka? Probably, did he go in? And did he eat it? Maybe he didn't chop it up. So, and according to the Chachamim, are we going to say that you have to check the house? Not necessarily, because over there it was Tuma Midairaisa. But over here that it's a Darabanan, even the Chachamim will be lenient and say that you don't have to check the house. That's what we're getting from this. Okay. If he goes in the house, Ubadak, the mouse went into the house, then you check the house. But you couldn't find the chametz. Look, the Rav Meir v'Rabbanan. It's machlekes Rav Meir and the Rabbanan. Bitnan, it was taught in the Mishnah. Rav Meir Mekol Davar Shebecheskas Tumah Lo'ilam Hi B'Tumasei Ad Shivadalach HaTumah Heichanu. You didn't find it. You don't know where it is. It remains tummy. It's important to Rashi over here that gives us the case. If you have, it says a pile or a mound of something that's tummy, and it's mixed with two other mounds, so you have three. One of them is clearly tummy, so you check the first one, and it's perfectly clean. So then the other two have the suffix tumah on it. This one is clean. When I check the next one, and it's clean. So then now I have two that are clean. The other one remains a suffix tumah. I check all three and it's clean. And they're all clean. But Meir says they're now all tummy. Because you don't know where the tumah is. Where's the tumah? You don't know it.
Why would we check the first one?
So yeah, that would make a problem. So according to Reb Meir though, until you find out where it is, you have no way of saying that all of this is tar. And the Chacham say no. You check until you reach the bedrock, until you reach land that was never plowed, that's hard soil, and that's it. You couldn't find the tumah, so that's obviously it must have been something came in, a vulture or something came and took it, right? So what would that mean for us? According to the Chachamim, you went into a house that had chametz because the mouse went into the house with the chametz. You then checked the house, you couldn't find it. According to the Chachamim, there's no problem. You couldn't find it. It must have eaten it or whatever. According to Reb Meir, I don't know where it is. Until you find out where it is, it's tummy. The only thing is that Reb Meir was talking about a deraisa, and this is a derabanan. So, which would mean that even Reb Meir would be maida here, that it would be acceptable, and you don't have to recheck the house. Well, rechecking the house isn't going to help until you find where the mouse is. You have to search through the holes and say, oh, he hasn't been his hole. Al ubadak v'ashkach. Oh, this is a good question. He went into the house. He checks the house and he found it. Looked at the Rebbe, Reb Shimon Gamliel. What's the shaila, right? What's the shaila? Let's see. The Tanya was starting the Bryce. Sadish never ba kever anichnas lechatami. If you have a field that there was a grave there, but you don't know where it is in the field, so someone that goes into that field becomes tummy. Nimtza ba kever. Let's say you find where the grave is. I'll say that the grave that was lost is the one that you found. Shimon Gamliel says, you don't know that that's the grave that was lost. Maybe this is a different grave. And the grave that was lost is somewhere else in the field. You have to check the whole field. So the chametz went into the house because the mouse went into the house. You went into the house and you found chametz. Say this is the chametz that he brought in. No, according to Shimon Gamliel, possibly you found other chametz. The chametz that he brought in is not. You didn't find it yet. You have to keep searching. Right. So question is over here if that's exactly what we're going to say. Okay. This is rough to case number 8. You left 9 piles of chametz, 9 pieces, and you found 10 pieces. Now it doesn't mean spread out, probably. I believe it means in one area. There were 9 slices of bread or something, and you come back, you find 10. So pluted the Rebbe v'Rabbanan. It's a machlekes Rebbe and the Rabbanan. Listen to this. The Tanya was starting to Bryce. Niach mana matzah Messiah. No, it's not referring to that. That would be different. I think that would be different. Here you have a mana of Meiser Sheni. Mana is 125 selah of Meiser Sheni. And when you come and you check the piggy bank that you're keeping it in, so you find that there's 200 instead of 100. Rebbe says that you have Ma'aser Sheni and you have Chulin that are mixed up. You have an extra 100 here. So what do? You take this 200 and you exchange it for another 100. And you say the Ma'aser Sheni that's in this should go on to that because I don't know which one. These go out free. Another one you use. Chum say everything is Chulin. How's it Chulin? Chum say like this. You left 100. Now you have 200. This is a different 200. Where's the 100? That's somewhere else. I don't know, but this is a totally different 200. Yeah, very good. Very good. So,
I thought the same thing.
What are we going to say over here? We'll say that you have to check the house. You found too much chametz. What you found was not the original 9. You found a different 10. According to the chachamim. The chachamim that are lenient here, that lenient by the Ma'aser Sheni, they say none of this is Ma'aser Sheni. That means that by chametz they're going to be machmir. They're going to say none of this was the original chametz. You have another 9 pieces somewhere. You haven't found it yet. A little different. Here you left 10 and you come back and you find 9. So Hainu Seifa, that's the end of this brisa or Mishnah. It's a brisa. Tosefta. The Tanya Niach Masayim Matzamana. Let's say you left 200, you come back and you find only 100. Mana Munach, Mana Mutal. Rebbe says you have the same spar as before. 100 of this, 100 that's here is the Ma'aser Sheni, and you have to go search for the other 100. I don't know where it is. Chum say it's a different bundle. Where's the 200? I don't know. Where this is 100. This is obviously not the same one. So according to the Chum, you have to search the whole house because you found 9. You left 10. This 9 is a different group. Okay, for me this is case 10. We're on top of Yoram at base. If you left it in one corner and you found it in another corner. Look to the Reb Shimon ben Gamliel v'Rabbanon. The machlekes Reb Shimon ben Gamliel and the Rabban. You can imagine. Usually the shaila is you put out 10 pieces and you only found 9. But if you can imagine the Rav has to take out this Gemara and start looking through what's there. It's very complicated. Was there a mouse? Did you see any mice walking around? So, the Tanya was taught in a brisa. Kardam she'avad b'bayis tamei shani aimer adam tamei nichnas l'sham v'natlai. Huge chumrah, unbelievable. You have a little kardam, it's like an axe, a small axe, right? You leave an axe in the house, you can't find it. The house is tamei. Why? Because I say that it got stolen by someone that was tamei. It's huge chumrah. No? Huge chumrah. Yeah, I mean, like, you couldn't find it, so... Anyway, the Rambam in the Tshuva writes about this case that because it was stolen, so I don't put a cheskas tara on the person, on the ganav. I assume that the ganav was tamei. Usually a person has a cheskas tara unless you know that he's tamei. But over here, because someone stole it, so I attribute to him that he's tamei. I don't know why, but you check the house, you can't find the house. Shavad b'bayis. Where did it go? House is a room. So the house becomes tamei. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel and Rabbi Yistar. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says the house is tar. Shani Yemer Shilu Lacher v'Shacha. He probably lent it to someone. He can't remember. Don't say that someone came in and stole it. Or maybe he put it in one corner. He found it in another corner. It was taken from this corner, put in another corner, and he forgot. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about. The Gemara is going to ask, what are you talking about corners over here? The last case didn't exist. Zavis Mandacha Shmei, the Gemara asks. Who mentioned corners? Where do you bring this up from? It's missing. Is this a brisa or a mishnah? The Tanya, it's a brisa. The brisa is missing, and it has to have a few extra words to make it fit. It goes like this. Kardem Shabbat Babayas, if you have an axe that was lost in the house, because they say that the Ganav was Tameh. And he came in and he took it, he made everyone in the house, everything in the house Tameh. Does he make the whole house Tameh? No, he doesn't make the whole house Tameh. Why do we say the house is Tameh? How Tameh could he be? Could be Avatama, but the Avatama doesn't make a house Tameh. Only a mason makes a house Tameh. Maybe he touched something in the house. No. If there's a mace in the house, that's an aviyah vaisa tama. The house becomes tamei. How tamei could a person be? He probably touched the mace, maybe. But a tamei person that goes into a house doesn't make the house tamei. So Rashi adds in, we say that he touched items in the house. That's the problem. He came in and contaminated items by touching them. Okay. Or another case, if you put it in one corner and you found it in another corner. I don't even think the guy's such a big ganav. He just moved it from one corner to another. He's just curious. He comes in, he looks at it, maybe it's a ganav, he wanted to take it and he didn't take it. And it's why are we attributing to this person that he's tamei? But that's the case. Whatever it is, that's the din, that we assume that the house is tamei. What does that tell us? What tells us is if you left chametz in one corner and you find it in another corner, we'll assume that an achbar came in, that a mouse came in. Do we assume that it's the same one if it's in another corner, or do we assume that it's a different one? Once you suspect that it would to a mouse, then you have to assume that maybe it's a different piece of bread as well. Maybe the mouse took it and I don't know where it is. But this is another piece of bread. And you have to go search for the other one also. It's not just I can take this bread away and then I've got it. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says that we say that it was the person himself. That's what he says. He says that you assume that it was the person forgot. You assume that the guy forgot. He lent it to someone, he forgot. He moved it, he forgot. You don't have to assume that anything went wrong over here. Also, with if you find chametz in a different place where you left it, you assume that it was the guy. He forgot what he did. Amar Rava. Okay. All of those were statements before without any attributing it to any person. We just compared them to Brises and Mishnayos. Now Rav is coming up with cases. The case number 11, if we put the whole list together. Achbar nichnas v'kicha b'piv. You see the mouse come into the house, and he has a loaf of bread in his mouth. V'nichnas acharav. You run in after the mouse. Matzah pirurin, and you find the crumbs. This is Mooch, right? Mooch the Messy. That is a little kid's book. So you see the crumbs over there. Tzarech bedika, you have to search the whole house for the kikar because mice don't leave crumbs. So these crumbs were different crumbs, and where's that kikar? That's somewhere else. You have to go search around to find it. So, yeah, someone told me on Shabbos, he was telling me, he said, listen to the Spanish. Ana meser esta aquí. It's in Yiddish, right? unamessiristic. So he's without a knife, right? A cow eats without a knife. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how clean they are. I don't know, but apparently they don't leave the crumbs; they eat it up. What is it? Oh. Okay, so another case. Rava has another case. It says Tinik nichnas v'kikar biyadei. If a child comes in and the child has a loaf of bread in his mouth or a piece of bread in his mouth, you run in after the child. That's what's the Pesach room. And you see the crumbs on the floor. You don't have to check anywhere else because that's the children. They make that's more mess than right. They waste most of the food. Most of the food is around the floor, around the house. Okay. Boy Rava. This is number 13. Achbar nichnas v'kika b'piv. A mouse goes into the house and it has a loaf of bread in its mouth. Then a mouse goes out and there's a loaf of bread in its mouth. Okay, you weren't able to tag it. Do you say that this is the same one that went in, that's the one that went out? Or maybe it's a different one. So let's follow this. If you say that it's the same one, so everything is good. A white mouse went in and a black mouse goes out. So what's the din over there? It's definitely a different mouse. That's not the question. Maybe this mouse threw it to the other one and he's taking out the same loaf of bread. They were playing catch. And the black mouse, it's right. He caught it. So if you're gonna say we don't know. We have to do tests in the laboratory. If we say that mice don't share, right? They don't play. So now a mouse goes in and it has a loaf of bread in its mouth, and now a weasel comes out and it has a loaf of bread in its mouth. The weasel can grab it from the mouse. Or maybe it's something different. Maybe the mouse got away and the chulda has another loaf. If you would say that the weasel took it from the mouse, you would have found the mouse in the mouth of the weasel. Let's call it a cat. You would have found it would have not just held the loaf of bread, it would have had the whole mouse. It must be that the mouse got away, and this is a different loaf of bread. If you would say that that's a good svara, that if it's the same loaf of bread, then where's the mouse? He would have had the whole mouse hanging in his mouth. I was hoping Dr. Stein would get a background for this one. A mouse goes in and he has a loaf of bread in its mouth. Coming out of the house, you see a weasel with a loaf of bread coming out and the mouse coming out. Right? It's like a cigar and a sandwich, right? So separately, he's got a loaf of bread and the mouse. So what's it in? Do we say that it's definitely the same loaf of bread that went in? You see, as a mouse. If you say it's the same one, then why does he have the loaf of bread out of the mouth of the achbar? He should be grabbing the achbar, and the loaf of bread was in the mouth of the achbar. Now he has them both. Why does he have two separate things? The loaf of bread here and the mouse over there. He should have grabbed the mouse with the loaf of bread in the mouth of the mouse. Right. That's possible. Right. Right. That's our question. Does he have to do another video? No, it's not a bracha issue. It's not a bracha issue. Just the extra work. Yeah, extra work. The tircha. Oy Dilma, or do we say mishum biatusu enough of a shakalti? Do we say Yossi that that the mouse was frightened? He dropped the loaf, so now he grabs them both. He has them both in his mouth. The chulba, teku. Oh, this question we have to leave. We don't have an answer. Boy Rava, Rava has a question. For me, this is 17. Kika b'shmei kaira. If it's high up in the beams of the roof, tzarich sulam layrida ein tzarich. You have to get a ladder to take it down. Miyamrin kuli hai layachachu rabbanan. Given laynachus min nafshei layasil mechlin. Do we say that Chazal never made you go through that effort? You have to go, mamash. You have to get a scaffold to go up over there to get it. It's not coming down. It's let's compare it to Nafal of Mapilas or something. It's stuck over there. By Dilma, Zimlin the Nafal Vasil Mechlei. You're saying maybe it might fall. You have to do B'dika. You have to go. B'dika means you have to destroy it. You have to get it and remove it. Let's say that you have to be so strict because maybe it could fall. Let's say it falls down into the this is 18. Falls down the grate, in the the heaters they have like a grate. It falls down into the. You have to go down and to get it. In Miami, you don't know about that, but the other areas they have these grates. You remember that you would stand on it when it was cold.
So. What's a grate?
A vent for the heat. So it's definitely not coming up on its own as high as you turn the heat on it. It's not coming up. Or maybe sometimes you do go down there to get something falls down. You have to go down to get it. Maybe you have to go down for B'dikas Chametz to go get it. Maybe if you're going to say that sometimes you go down and maybe you're going to eat it over there, if you see it in the mouth of a snake, a loaf of bread in the mouth of a snake. Now, you can't get it away from the snake. You have to go get one of these charmers to be able to get it out. Yeah. I don't know. So, I know Chazal make you search the whole house, and it's a huge effort. But maybe they never said that you have to hire someone to do something. Now, it's true that you're able to hire someone to do it for you, but that's because you were able to do it yourself. But that the whole thing, lechatchila, is just, you can't do it. You just, Chazal were matriach you, that, not matriach you, Chazal said that you have to spend money to do this. That they never said that you have to get someone to do this, to hire someone.
All you could do is give them a small one, so they shake and drop and put their back.
Problem is the snake is dangerous. While he drops it, he may say, "Oh, there's a." So or maybe the same way they were matriach you to go search your whole house, which is a huge effort. They also said they have to spend the money to get the teku. Leave this as a question. Okay, let's leave this.